Hey, Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Maria.
My name's Matt.
And I'm Jordan.
Yay.
It wasn't me this time.
Welcome, Big Blue Box listener. This is the July Roundtable. We hope you are keeping well and safe. We hope you've had a cracking week and that you've all managed to do something Doctor Who related. Hopefully you've read a book or you've watched some Who. Maybe you're like Matt here at the Big Blue Box podcast, where you've just gone on an absolute classic Who bender and has watched around 52 episodes in the past 36 hours. Maybe. Or maybe you've done nothing. That's also cool. Take some time out from Who, do whatever. Whichever way you've done it. Hope you're all keeping well. So for the July Roundtable, I am joined by some of the usual gang. We've got a couple of people who are not here. So Harry's not here and Mark. Those guys are they're doing whatever they do on a Tuesday evening. Harry's probably reading a script. And Mark is probably having some whiskey, I would say. I'm watching some informative TV programme to write a review on it somewhere. But I am joined by Maria. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. It's really nice to kind of be together again and kind of do the podcast. So, yeah, I'm great. I haven't really done a lot of Doctor Who stuff. It's kind of slow and steady at the moment. I'm still going through William Hartnell era. Just finished the Dalek Master Plan, which was a monster of a story. But aside from that, I haven't really done much else. But I'm good, thank you.
Nice. That's a good old story, though. A bit of a long one to go through. It's good.
Yeah.
Okay, Matt, how are you, buddy? Mr. Matt Steele.
Hello, Gary. Yes, very good, thank you. I don't know what you're on about. I've watched No Who in ages.
Lies. Big time lies.
No, I don't know what's come over me. I think it was. I downloaded a episode sort of list to see, how much classic Who I've watched, because I feel like I haven't watched enough, and now's the time to, with this lull, now is the time to go back and fill in the blanks. Turns out it was an absolute pitiful performance on my for me, really. There was so much missing, and I was just sat there looking at it thinking, am I even a Doctor Who fan? So that was it. And then I asked you wonderful people, what do you think I should do? Should I pick out some really cool ones or start from the beginning? So, I think it was Maria suggested something really cool where start from John Pertwee and go on from there and then revisit the classic, the black and white sort of first and second Doctor, because, black and white all the time can be a bit daunting. But, I eventually decided, let's start from An Unearthly Child. And I've watched so much in such little time. I've done season 1 and I'm on I'll watch episode 3 of Planet, is it Planet of Giants? Or is it, which one's that's what it's called. Perfect. Yeah, I'm going to watch that a bit later on tonight. But I also slipped in the 2 Doctors at some point, and that's a bit balmy. But lots of Who, and it's really good.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. You know what? Sometimes it happens, I think we've all been there before, where every now and then you start watching one episode, and then before you know it, hours have gone by, a few days, and you've just gone nuts and you've watched a load of... I often find that when I don't plan to do it. So there are times in the past where I've been like, okay, I'm going to do like a big marathon, big binge watch. I'm going to start from An Unearthly Child and just keep going. I did that back early on in the year. But there are other times where I'll just watch an episode of something. It could be a Tom Baker episode or a Davison or something. And then I'm just in the mood for it. Like it just grabs you. You only plan to watch one story, but then it just, you're in a Doctor Who vice grip and you can't get out of it. Yeah, which is not a bad thing. There are worse ways to spend a couple of days, Matt. So hopefully you keep going, dude. Just keep going with it.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
I just remembered I watched Planet of Fire. I forgot all about that. I did watch that this week and I haven't seen that story. It's a Fifth Doctor story. I haven't seen that for years and I couldn't remember exactly what happened in it. So it was like watching a new Doctor Who story because it was so long since I'd seen it. I did watch that as well. I remember I had a Davison fix. I wanted a Davison fix this week and that was my fix. So sorry, I had to mention that because I thought I couldn't remember that I'd actually done it. So it's been that kind of week. So
you just needed a little bit of Davidson, eh? Just a little bit.
I did. Yeah, just something that kind of felt familiar but unfamiliar. So I just picked it at random because I was going to do the 5 Doctors because I know it's coming up at the BFI soon, and then somebody said to me, well, no, don't watch that because hopefully you will go and see it, so fingers crossed. So I thought, okay, I will build up my anticipation for that and I'll watch something else. So that was my reasoning behind it.
Hold on. The 5 Doctors is on at the BFI.
Yes, keep it on the quiet, but the BFI are going to be doing a screening of the 5 Doctors in September, and don't tell anyone, but tickets go on sale from the 8th of August.
Okay. Do I need to edit this out, Maria? Or is this a...
Yes, edit it out so nobody knows, and then I might have a chance of actually getting a ticket.
Oh, man. Okay. So, right, okay. I'm actually being serious. Do I need to edit this out? Is this, are you going to get in trouble?
No, I don't think so, because it's on Twitter.
Oh, no, it's not. It's on X, I think you'll find.
Oh, sorry. The Bluebird is gone. I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
And we've got this X now, which is kind of scary.
Yeah, apologies, Elon. When you listen back to this,
sorry.
Maria knows no better.
He's going to deactivate my account now because I've disrespected his platform that he paid millions and millions of pounds for, that seems to be going kind of in one direction, and it's not up. So
billions with a B.
With a billion, sorry, not millions, billions. Yeah, it's still going only one way though.
Okay. Yeah, of course. Yeah, which is downwards, of course. Yeah. Okay. BFI, 5 Doctors. Don't tell anyone. Tickets go on sale soon. Gotcha. Right. Thank you very much for that, Maria. Just think, if you hadn't have come in and said, actually, I've just watched, this Davison story, we'd never have got to this point. So, thank you.
That's okay.
Maria, you must be friends with Tom Holland with that level of secret keeping.
Well, no, it was just, you know what? I kind of started on one train of thought and then it went somewhere else completely. So, I'm just like that. I think that's the way my brain functions. I'm kind of like that. At work. I'll kind of jump from one thing to another. So, blame my brain.
We usually do. From that bombshell, then, on to Jordan. It's Mr. Jordan Shortman. How are you, buddy?
I'm very well, thank you.
Hello.
I've not been watching the classic series, but I started watching from Christopher Eccleston series again, and I've forgotten actually just how good that series was. Because I've always had it in my mind that it wasn't. And I'm thinking, apart from The Long Game, which is a terrible story, it is actually really good.
I thought that the Eccleston era was shit. But now I've rewatched it.
I've always thought that. I don't ever remember it being very good.
Yeah, now I've rewatched it and it's actually pretty good. How's
So
that?
I think I've had a bit of a change of heart about Christopher Eccleston.
Okay, cool.
But
Fantastic.
fantastic. But that's what I've been doing. I've been having a bit of a reappraisal of Christopher Eccleston. I don't think he's a very good actor in anything else I've seen him in, but I liked him as well too. Christopher, I'm so sorry if you're listening.
He is, and yeah,
I think you need to apologise to Russell T Davies as well, because he's probably crying.
Oh yes, I'm
right
very
now.
sorry, Russell. I'm very sorry, Russell. But
this is going to be a weird tangent. Just very quickly, sorry to interject. We were having a bit of a cheesy movie day last weekend, and we stumbled across Gone in 60 Seconds, Nicolas Cage car thievery film. And I forgot that Chris Eccleston's in that. We hadn't seen it in years. And it's interesting that he decided to keep his Yorkshire, Lancashire accent, wherever it is, in that film as a baddie, and didn't do the whole, like with villains in films, it either goes one of two ways. They try and go very British because that, for some reason, is a very good accent for villains in American films for years, or they try and put on an American accent to sort of blend in and do that stuff. But no, he just sounds like an angry version of the Doctor throughout that film. So yes,
I don't think I've ever heard him do a different accent, actually. I think he keeps his own accent all the time, doesn't he? He's a bit like Michael Caine, who kind of always does the accent that he's got. I mean, I don't know.
That's
who's
true.
The other
Yep.
Who's the other actor that only does his own accent? There's other actors that just do that as well.
Christopher
Did he
Lee.
speak at all?
Maybe.
Don't know.
Yeah. There's
What
quite a
about
few.
Thor? Did he speak a different accent in Thor, or did he have a speaking role? I can't really remember.
Well,
He was
in-
probably a Mancunian evil elf thing in Thor as well, I should imagine. That was
Yes,
another thing.
yeah.
I never realised it was him underneath all that makeup. Never realised it was Christopher Eccleston until a little while ago.
Yes, that was. He played. I think he played a character called Malekith, which was this dark elf kind of. Yeah. Do you know what? How did he even sound in it? I can't remember. Maybe he wasn't from up north in that one. I don't think he was he? No. No. Oh, are you thinking of Sean Bean, Maria?
Oh, maybe. I know that there is another actor that just uses Sean Connery. I knew there was an actor that only did his own accent.
Yes.
I've never heard him talk any other way. Anyway, I do apologise to Christopher Eccleston if I'm wrong. And he's actually a master of accents. If I have got it wrong, I do apologise, because I don't want to get on his wrong side unless I meet him one day. I don't want him to headbutt me or something.
Jesus. Sorry, Chris. This has gone weird.
That's it. We're a viewer down forever now.
It's gone weird at your expense, I'm afraid, Chris, but pay it no mind. Pay it no mind. We love you. It's all good. Okay, so actually, this is very, very cool. There's been lots of podcasts that I've listened to in the past where the hosts or the guests, whatever, have been waxing lyrical about whatever, not Doctor Who, but it could be about anything. And then they'll say, so when's the last time that you watched the film that we're actually reviewing or discussing? And they say, oh, I don't know. It's probably a decade, maybe 15 years. And it's like, okay, nobody can accuse the Big Blue Box of not getting stuck into Doctor Who on a regular basis. We are all watching some form of Doctor Who or reading or whatever each and every week, which I love. I love that because, like I said, there are some shows where you think, you got that a bit wrong, haven't you? Probably because you haven't seen it in years. You've missed a bit or something like that. So I love it. I love that we're like that, which is one of the reasons why when we were going through, when Adam and I spoke about this yonks ago, and we said, shall we open the doors and let other people write for the Big Blue Box and get a team together and do some reviews and editorials and stuff? I remember saying to him, yes, but it has to be the right people. We cannot just say, yep, welcome one and all, everybody just write what you like and all that stuff. It had to be the right sort of people. And you guys are the best Doctor Who people to have on the team. And I mean that sincerely. And I include Harry and Mark in that as well. So I love you guys. I just love the fact that we're so We're so into Who, even like ups and downs, peaks and troughs, when, you know, we watch a story that's not viewed as amazing by the general populace. And even within ourselves, it's like, oh, watch that one. Oh, such a, you know, a slow burn, and, you know, it took ages and it drags on. We still got a smile on our face when we talk about it, and we still, you know, discuss. I just love it. So, yeah, went off a bit of a tangent there, but thank you guys. Yeah, it's one of those little tiny moments where I just think, yep, you guys are just the best. You really are. Right, with that little moment of soppiness out the way, we're going to get onto some cool content. We're going to discuss, first of all, and I know we've gone on for nearly half an hour, we're going to discuss a couple of bits that have landed in the news recently. And then if we've got, I don't know if we're going to get time, but if we get time, we're going to go on to our usual theme where we just pluck an idea out of the air. And this time it's going to be, if we could travel with any doctor to any place in time or space, in any destination, and meet anybody from history, who would those people be? Where would those places be? So we're going to go through those if we get time. This could go on. I don't know. I'm halfway through a beer. I think Jordan's got some wine on the go. I'm not sure about the others. I don't know.
It's a gin. It's a massive, great big gin.
Gin. There we go. Just as bad. Maria's got a cup of soup. And, hold on. What's that?
Tea.
Oh, got a cup of tea in a Tom Baker mug. Very nice.
I'm on the slow gin. I'm joining Jordan. I'm on the slow gin.
I knew it. Here we go.
I'm afraid I'm going to get a bit of a reputation as a bit of a gin-soaked old lush, but, you know.
Well, there are worse things to be called, Jordan. So, take that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chris. Right, anyway, moving on. Let's talk about some news. We have, what was about first? It's about the Blu-ray box set, the brand new announced Blu-ray collection. And this was a nice little bit of coincidence, actually, because I remember about a week before, maybe 2 weeks before the BBC announced this, there was a bit of a thing that sort of caught traction in our Discord server. And also I saw quite a few tweets about this where people were saying, what's going on? When's the next Blu-ray box set going to be announced? We want to know what it is, because I don't think the people who work on these box sets, and certainly the BBC, they don't seem to have a definitive dated roadmap for these. It feels like whatever amount of work needs to be done to get them to a certain standard, they'll take as long as they need. And then when it gets to a point where it's nearly finished, they'll announce it, and then away we go. So there's not like a set, like every 3 months we'll get an announcement, you know, that kind of thing. But it does feel like a long time has passed since the last season dropped and this one. So there were some questions knocking around in the old Discord and on Twitter. It was like, when's the next one coming? And then lo and behold, we get this new announcement, which is season 20. Season 20, the Fifth Doctor. And I don't know about you guys, but do you feel, let me just, before we talk about the set itself, do you feel like the trailers that accompany these new box set announcements are getting better and better? This one is awesome. I'm getting a big thumbs up from everybody here. What are your thoughts on the trailer? I thought it was so good. Really cool.
It was fantastic. I think, is it Peter Teague? Is that how you say his surname?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
He's actually producing what are kind of like little mini kind of stories, really. They're more than trailers. And what's really exciting is he's kind of, I don't know if he's a fan of that particular season or whether he's just picked up on, you know, some of the themes from that series, from that particular series. But I kind of loved what he did. I mean, obviously it includes one of my favourite companions, probably my favourite companion, which is Teague and Javanka. So I was really happy at the kind of tone of it. It was kind of really well produced, and there was an element of suspense. It was fantastic. And you know, there's some lovely moments in it, you know, especially when you get Sarah Suffern coming in as Nissa. You know, that was just such a moment for me. I think my inner child kind of got really excited at that point, you know, because it was very nostalgic for me, kind of seeing that. So yeah, it was really, really exciting, and I loved it. And the one thing was I'd realised when I was watching the trailer, I forgot to watch the bit at the end. So the first time I watched it, because, you know, they go through all the features and everything, I didn't realise there was a little bit at the end, and I keep forgetting that you have to go right through to the end. So I missed the bit at the end, and then I rewatched it, and then I saw it all. So yeah, it was really, really good. I loved it. Absolutely fantastic. Really well done.
When she wakes up from her nightmare, or she thinks she's waking up, she sort of sits bolt upright. Yeah, that's very cool, that bit. Yes. Probably should mention, as we should do all these things, if you've not yet seen this epic little story, as Maria said, they're not really trailers anymore. They are proper little mini stories and episodes. There are spoilers. We're going to discuss what happens in there. So if you've not seen it yet, then skip forward a little bit. I'll put a timestamp in the show notes. But yeah, it's it was. I know what you mean, because we've seen a lot of Tegan, haven't we? I say a lot. She's been back recently in Newer Who. Although she didn't have a huge part, she was still there, and she was still very, very much the Tegan that we remember. It's amazing how actors who have not played a certain part for donkeys, you know, sometimes in certain shows when they bring somebody back from the classic years in something, and they just effortlessly just slip back into playing that part. And I think she does that so amazingly. So it's a bit like, for me, it's a bit like, and I don't want to take the focus away from Sarah Sutton either, but for me, it's a bit with Tegan and that character. It's a bit like Ace for me. It's any time that we see Ace, she's so fantastic. Sophie Aldred at just slipping back into that character, almost as if she just finished playing it last week or whatever. So yeah, I know what you mean. It's and you're a big fan of Tegan, aren't you, Marie? You're a big fan.
I'm massive, and I think Jordan is as well. You know, it's just my era. It was who, if I could have been Tegan when I was younger, I would have been Tegan. I would have had all those costumes. I would have dressed up as an air hostess. I would have done all of that. You know, like I said, it's really nostalgic for me. She's one of my favourite companions. So it was just so it just brought a lump to my throat, especially when, you know, seeing two of my favorite kind of people together in that trailer. It was lovely. I really enjoyed that, and I know they're just going to get better and better as more Blu-rays come out. You know, we're going to have all these little mini stories that are going to be, they're going to add to the mythos of the whole thing, really. I mean, it was amazing because he said it was 13 minutes, and you're thinking, what are they going to put in 13 minutes? But it was fantastic.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, very cool. And that scene that you mentioned, once you've gone through them doing all the features announcements and all the extra stuff, that scene at the end is very cool. Very like when the mirror, you see the skeleton in the mirror and it cracks, and very cool. What did you guys think, Matt and Jordan? Did you dig this little story? Because I remember you put in a Discord, Matt, you were like, so we'll come to you in a second, Jordan. I remember just come to my head that, Matt, you were like, I can't wait to get home from work because I've got all 13 minutes of this thing to watch. So did it bring a smile to your face?
Yes. Yeah, it totally did. I couldn't wait, and I saw it, and I thought, I'm super busy at work. This is, and I've just been dying for this next box set to come through, and it finally comes through, and I can't watch it, and I'm thinking, ugh. So 5 o'clock came, got to my truck, and I was like, no, right, I can't go anywhere for 13 minutes, and this is going to be so worth it. And it was. It's these, like you say, like Maria said, they're not trailers anymore. They are mini episodes of classic Doctor Who, and they like you said, they get better and better. And with season 20, I actually the only story that I've actually seen is Kinder, or Kinder, or however, I think it's Kinder. Yeah. So luckily it revolved around that, because otherwise I wouldn't have a clue. But obviously seeing Tegan in The Power of the Doctor, I obviously know of Tegan. I've seen lots of stories with Tegan in, and like her as a companion, stole my heart in Power of the Doctor. It's one of my favourite moments. And when you say Power of the Doctor, it's one of the things I instantly remember is the unit HQ is completely collapsing behind her. There's just smoke and rubble everywhere. TARDIS appears, and then Tegan, hands on her hips, sass and everything, is going, yes, I would like to come into the TARDIS, thank you very much, and just strides in. And it is just Tegan, just like you say, all these years, and immediately straight back into the role. But yeah, so I've got a lot of time for Tegan, and also it was lovely to see Sarah Sutton back. And it was probably really good for a lot of people that have been wanting confirmation on that little romance storyline. It's probably just personally, neither here or there for me, but for people out there who desperately wanted to know, it's just cherry on the cake. Absolutely beautiful. And yeah, say Peter McTeague or McTeague, he obviously absolutely loves Doctor Who to its core. And, you can just see that with these trailers. He's not done all of them, but the ones that he's done have just been, chef's kiss. Lovely.
Yeah. Did he do the one with Ace when, like, the drone footage around the Shard and she's, a charitable Earth, all that? Or did he do that one? Can't remember.
I will have a look.
But that one was fantastic. So, yeah, Jordan. So, I think you did. Jordan, what did you think to this little story then, and seeing Janet Fielding and Sarah Sutton is very cool?
I was really happy. I mean, I'll never forget the scream I let out at the end of Legends of the Sea Devils when Tegan and Ace appeared in the Next Time trailer. I don't know if the neighbours wondered what was going on or whatever at this scream that I let out.
We live next door to a Doctor Who fan. He's okay. It's fine. Once they hear the theme tune, I think they know what's going on.
But when this trailer, so I was already excited because it was Tegan had come back. They brought Tegan back, and then I think I let out another bit of a scream or a squeal when Sarah Sutton came back, because those two I think work really well together, Tegan and Nyssa. I've never. I mean, it doesn't bother me if they're sort of, people would be like, oh, they were in a relationship. But I've always thought of them as the older sister and the younger sister. Mm. Adric's the annoying little brother, and the Fifth Doctor's like the exasperated dad that can't sort of control all of them at the same time, desperately trying to hold on. But yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I really liked, obviously, Tegan's costume in Power of the Doctor was sort of like her air hostess uniform, with like the buttons on her jacket, and I quite liked they did the similar thing with Nyssa in that she had like a velvet jacket, but she didn't have like the velvet one like catsuity thing that she was in. And I just I really liked it. I thought it was very, very, very well done. But I think they're brilliant, these trailers, and I really hope that they keep on making them with things. And I'm hoping if we get series 1 that maybe they'll bring Susan back, or there's sort of characters that I hope come back in some degree. But I was really happy to see Tegan and Nyssa come back. Or was it Nyssa? This is the question.
Well, yeah. Is it Nyssa? Probably is. But it was good. It was good to see them, for sure. So that story is really cool. If you've not checked it out yet, it's on YouTube. Just do a search for, it's called Tegan's Surprise Reunion. And yeah, just put season 20 trailer and you'll see it on there. It's got some really cool, they rattle off all the features, which we'll go through a few of them now, which sound very cool. So you've got the Five Doctors, the 40th anniversary edition, which is a brand new 90-minute anniversary special with updated effects, Dolby Atmos surround sound apparently, and an exclusive new commentary with Peter Davison, Janet Fielding, and Mark Strickson. Now that sounds very cool, because the Five Doctors, I think that's is that on the BFI at some point? Yeah, might be. So that's going to be really cool. So we'll be able to check that out. That's probably the one that's going to be on there. We've got updated special effects to Snake Dance and Enlightenment. We've got the very cool Behind the Sofa, and I think these guys have done a couple of those already before. So you've seen Janet Fielding and Sarah Sutton and loads of other people having a right old laugh before. So that looks really cool. We've got the trailer, which you've just seen. The In Conversation with Matt Sweet, they're really good. So he's chatting to Janet Fielding and Sarah Sutton. We've got something called Let's Go Dutch, where the TARDIS crew travel to Amsterdam to revisit locations and reminisce about season 20 and their time on the programme. Something called Look Who's Driving, which sounds very cool. And there's a clip in the trailer, it looks really funny, with Peter, Janet and Sarah on a hilarious European road trip. And we've then got something called When Janet Met Martin, which is Janet Fielding chats to Martin Clunes, 40 years on from his appearance in Snake Dance. We've got Making the King's Demons, the regular cast return to the castle location and reminisce. We've got Making of the Season 20 trailer, which looks very cool. And we've got Longleat celebration footage. Now, I've got a feeling that Maria's going to be all over that one. I've just got a feeling that she knows about Longleat. I bet you do, don't you?
I do know about Longleat in that I wasn't allowed to go because I was too young. So yeah, I would have loved to have gone because I know, because it was the 20th anniversary of Doctor Who, there was a lot of really special stuff that went on at Longleat. It was something that I think was talked about in Doctor Who. I think it would have been Doctor Who Monthly at that point.
Yeah,
I know there was a lot of talk around it, but yeah, I couldn't have gone to Longleat. My parents wouldn't have let me go. So but yeah, I know I'm disappointed even now after all this time. I wish I could have gone.
Yeah, it's definitely spoken about in terms of Doctor Who conventions, or just conventions in general, like Comic-Con and Collectomania and all those things. I think Longleat is always up there with that was the one to go to back in the, whenever it was it in the 80s? Yeah, 1983. So it was a really cool, they managed to just grab so many people who were involved in the show, as well as get a load of classic Doctors in the same room. So Peter Davison, Tom Baker, Pat Troughton, John Pertwee, and then loads of other people. Apparently it was an amazing... I've chatted to a couple of people in the pub who went to it, and they said it was just like big thumbs up. So it's going to be cool to have a look through that. We've also got studio footage, hours of material apparently, a lot of behind the scenes and production stuff for Arc of Infinity, Snake Dance and the Five Doctors. Location film rushes from the Five Doctors. Some more convention footage. This is an Australian convention where it's got interviews with Peter Davison, Janet Fielding, and it was all shot during the production of that season. Once Upon a Time Lord, which is a rare US documentary from the 80s, which sounds very cool. Brand new sound mixes on Snake Dance and the Five Doctors, plus Dolby Atmos mixes for the Five Doctors. Tons of photos in the HD gallery. Archive treats, so hours of rare and previously unreleased material from the BBC archives. Loads of infotext and trivia. And then for the people that want to get real down into the details, there's a PDF archive, which includes all the scripts, unseen BBC production files, and the Radio Times 20th anniversary special and other rarities. I mean, that's loads of stuff, right? So if we think about some of the other box sets, and they've all been good, don't get me wrong, they've all been really good, but for some reason this one just feels like they've just... You can see why it's taken them a while to get it all done before announcing this one, because there's just tons and tons of stuff. So have you guys pre-ordered this, or are you going to?
Of course.
Of course. Look at Matt. He's just...
Seconds.
Well,
Yeah.
This is probably the Blu-ray that will introduce me to actually getting more Blu-rays, because up to this point I haven't actually bought any of the Blu-rays. So I think this is the one that I'm going to pre-order, and I'm actually going to go and buy myself a Blu-ray player.
Nice.
So I can actually play it. So I don't want to get everything on Blu-ray because I haven't got the space, but I will get a few bits and pieces. But yeah, this is probably the one that would really encourage me to go and actually invest in it. And I suppose because it's a 20th anniversary, that could be why there's so much stuff in there, because that was real. I mean, okay, we'd had the 10th anniversary, but 20 years was probably at that point was really special, getting to 20 years.
Yes.
So
yeah, that's a good shout. Yeah, the 20th anniversary, lots of stuff going on. Yeah. Are you picking this up, Jordan? Do you get these? Can't remember if you get these or not.
Yeah, I get them.
Cool.
I think I watched the trailer and then I was straight on Amazon. I was like, right, pre-order.
Yeah, same. Actually, yeah, exactly the same. I went onto Amazon and grabbed a pre-order. So I think it's one of those things where it's such a cool day when these arrive, because you can almost just block out your weekend. It's so cool. You can just be like, right, this weekend it's going to be season 20, going to get loads of snacks in, some drinks, and it's just going to be a Doctor Who brand new Blu-ray set. And you've often find yourself, I don't know about you guys, but I often find myself going back and forwards. So I'll watch an episode, like the first episode in the season, then I'll watch a couple of special features, then I'll watch another story, and just bounce back and forward between those. It's it's such a good day. New Blu-ray box set day. I like it. Matt, you're muted, buddy. Take yourself off mute, man. There you go.
I'm just going to add in. Obviously, listeners can't see, but what I'm showing everyone else is the season 24 box set. And you can actually get these acrylic covers for them, which protect them, because they are so limited edition. And as anyone who's aware that tries to go back and get ones that they've missed, they sell out and they go for silly money. So I would really recommend getting these covers. I believe they're a company called Steelbook something, but if you go to the Doctor Who merchandise site, then they have them on there and you can follow the link. They're hardly any money at all, but yeah, from my personal opinion, I'd really recommend getting them, because they just keep them nice and safe and dust free, and they're so lovely. You just want to keep them really, really fresh.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So that's steelbookcentral.com. And
that's the one.
Yes. Yeah. I'll stick a link to this actually in the show notes, because there's obviously loads of our listeners that have these as well. And like you said, they are limited edition. You want to take care of them. So, yeah, steelbookcentral.com. And then I'll stick a link that will take you straight to the Doctor Who Blu-ray page already. And they're only a couple of quid each. So it's worth doing that. Nice one, dude. What a cool tip. So yeah, the season 20 box set is upon us. When does it land? Is it September? October? I can't remember exactly.
Has it been announced now, is it?
I don't know. I think it was just when I looked on Amazon when I pre-ordered mine, I'm sure it said.
I'd assume it's like September, October. If the BFI is having it in September, it's usually like a couple of weeks after, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. So I think it's probably end of September, beginning of October.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows that top secret information.
Apart from Maria. Maria probably knew like months ago. Maria's like, yeah, I knew about this. Yeah.
I wish.
But yeah, so don't quote us on that, but it's likely going to drop end of September, beginning of October. And yeah, it does sound rather good. 9 discs, apparently. 9 disc with years of content to watch through. So that'd be good. The other bit of news that landed, and some more merch news, and this caused a wee bit of a stir because it kind of landed out of nowhere, really. But it was the 14th Doctor's sonic screwdriver from Character. And there was no, sometimes with Who and certain bits of merch, not all of it, but some of it, they do this thing where it's like, we've got an announcement coming at midnight, so make sure that you are on social platforms because you're not going to want to miss this, all the rest of it. None of that with this one. Just out the blue, it was like, oh, by the way, here's the brand new sonic screwdriver, the 14th Doctor's sonic screwdriver, and it's going to be a limited edition thing. I think you can only order this through the Character website, I believe. Is that right, Matt? Because I know you nabbed one of these, right?
Yeah, I think it's something to do with the 10th Doctor sonic screwdriver style. No, it's the stainless steel effect on the screwdriver.
Gotcha. Right. So yes, you could zip through to the Character website. $29.99 it would have cost you if you managed to get one, and I didn't jump on this just because I don't collect the the Sonics. The only Sonics that I've got is I've got the old Tennant Sonic, and I've got that as a toy, like the plastic ones there, And I've also got, remember they did these really nice stainless steel TV remotes donkeys years ago. So I've got that. I've got the 10th Doctor, and it comes on like a little magnet base, and it stands up by itself. It looks pretty amazing. But so after that, I was like, I'm not going to collect everything. It's funny. Our co-host Adam, he put a photo on Instagram and Twitter the other day, and he just had all of his Sonics laid in a row, and he was like, "Oh, gutted! I missed out on the 14th one, but I've got all these to enjoy." And I think he's got all of them. I think he's got a couple of them a couple of times over. It looks pretty cool. But anyway, 14th Doctor Sonic Screwdriver, and the blurb that came with this is Character Options is delighted to announce a brand new exclusive for its iconic Doctor Who collection, the 14th Doctor Sonic Screwdriver. And it's the limited edition version, and it boasts an exclusive electroplated finish. I think that's what you're referring to, Matt, that kind of stainless steel look, and making it feel like real polished steel and brass. It also boasts 2 modes of operation, open and closed, as well as 5 brand new and totally unique sound and light effects, with each accessed by a different button sequence. And it also comes beautifully presented in regeneration style packaging. So other than Matt, I didn't get one because I didn't jump on to grab one. I've got some thoughts on that in a second. But Maria and Jordan, did you guys go in to get one of these, or were you like, yeah, I'll give it a miss?
I have to be honest, for me, I did watch a YouTube video because that was sent to me.
Yeah.
I watched the YouTube video, but because I don't collect them, I didn't kind of invest in one. But given all the brouhaha about it, I kind of wish I did. I'm just having a look on it, eBay actually, to see how much they're going for, and I think the cheapest one that I can see is £95 on there. Jeez. So good luck to anyone that wants to buy it, but not for me, I'm afraid.
I love Maria's sort of nonchalant kind of thing now. It's like, I was sent this about 6 months ago, but decided not to go for it in the end. But I was sent some information on it. Not going to tell you who from, but cheers, Russ. But I'm going to give it a miss. But Jordan, did you pre-order this?
I didn't. I think the only 2 Sonic Screwdrivers I've got the 10th Doctor one and the 4th Doctor one, I think.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But I'm not really into collecting the Sonic Screwdrivers. I know my friend Scott has all of them, so I should imagine if it becomes more available or sort of whatever as things, he'll probably get one. So he will probably let me play with it, for want of a better term. But I'm not really into them. But I like the design. I think the design is pretty cool.
You're not fussed.
It sort of reminds me of the 11th Doctor, where it's got like the prongs that come out. It sort of reminds me of the 11th Doctor's one.
It's like an amalgamation, isn't it, of some of the previous Doctors. I mean, that's obviously what they were going for. It's no accident. But the base of it reminds me of the 11th Doctor's Sonic, the shape of it. And then the middle part with like the cracked porcelain marble effect is obviously 9 and 10. And then the prongs again is 11th Doctor and so on. And it's just like a Frankenstein of some of the modern Sonics. And because of that, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't too fussed on it. If I'm being honest with you, I was like, it's all right, but it's not. I'm interested to see what's going to happen with Shooty's Doctor's Sonic. I'll be more interested to see what they do with that in terms of new design and so on. But one would assume you're happy with this purchase, Matt. You're looking forward to getting this?
Definitely, yes. You know what? I as fate would have it, I was supposed to get the Sonic Screwdriver today, and I had all the tracking information, and it's going to be delivered between 12 and 1, and then now it's saying that they haven't even shipped it yet. So I was really looking forward to coming on here and be like, look what I got. But unfortunately not to be. No, you were saying about the TV remote special editions. I've got the 11th Doctor one.
Nice.
And they are so good. Because obviously the weight of them, the finish, the material they used. I really hope that with Ncuti's Doctor, I feel is going to be this big thing, bringing massive audience, and it's going to, bring it back into the spotlight. That's what I'm hoping anyway. So I really hope that there's another one. One, he's got a really cool Sonic, and two, they bring out another one of these, because they're incredible. They're so good. But 14th Doctor's Sonic, really, really like it. Let's say you got an amalgamation of 9, 10, 11. I don't think there's any of 12 or 13. I'll tell you what, though, the tip of the light does remind me a bit of like the very, very early Sonic. That wasn't really a Sonic sort of thing. So lots of different Doctors in there. I think it's really cool, and I really love the new packaging that it comes in. I think it looks really sleek and sort of updated. As much as I love the classic RTD packaging that used to get, I wasn't ever a big fan of the B&M set packaging, I must admit. But
the dark
that
blue
one
with the
but I'm a sucker for the RTD original yellow and red, and the thin sort of Doctor Who logo. That's what I grew up with, so I love it. But this looks really kind of new and fresh and sleek, and kind of updated. So I'm really looking forward to it. Not really keen on the price tag, but I understand that it's a limited edition.
That's how they get you to spend the money, dude. It's the limited edition, of course. On the character website as well, if you missed out on the 14th Doctor Sonic Screwdriver, you can still bag yourself the Friends of the 13th Doctor and the 1975 unit Terror of the Zygon set for £10. People are like, where do we go to get the Terror of the Zygon set? It's still on the character website, so go and do that.
I just want to say another exclusive. Obviously, Maria's one is way bigger than this, but the character Twitter page has said that anyone who missed out, sadly, on the screwdriver, they have pre-ordered another batch. So fear not, its hope isn't lost. They did say it could take several months, but they have ordered a new batch and put it into the process of being manufactured and getting some more stock. So there will be another chance. Indeed,
yes. And I've got that tweet here. In fact, Matt, is it a tweet or a zeet now? Is it like an X but said with a Z? Is it an X'd? I don't even know that happened. Yeah. So Character Toys, they say we are overwhelmed by the response to the release of its new exclusive Sonic screwdriver and went on sale yesterday. This is back in on the 21st. They put this message out. It says, thank you to the fans who have helped spread the word. The response has been unprecedented and exceeded all of our expectations of demand. It says, owing to this, the stock sold out in less than 8 hours. And we know that there are some people who have been disappointed not to be able to purchase. In order to ensure that those still who wish to own the piece may do so, we have taken the decision to reorder a new batch. As you said, Matt, the manufacturing process has started already, but it will take several months to arrive in the UK. We promise to keep you informed of its arrival. So there you go. That's a good shout, Matt. If you missed out on this the first time round, they will be throwing it in your face within the next few months, I would have thought.
Just don't annoy the Chinese so that you get the stock. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, if we could just put a pin in, like any more wars happening anywhere, if we could just, keep the production, the world production lines happening and everything, that would be
It's priorities, really, isn't it?
Exactly. Priorities.
Doctor Who comes first, obviously. And sort yourselves out.
Indeedy, yes. So that's the 14th Doctor's sonic screwdriver, which is for now sold out, but it'll be coming back within the next few months. And we might as well keep the merch train going. There was I just came across this as we were chatting. I forgot to put it in the agenda earlier on Discord, but there's this really cool vinyl set that's just been announced, which is coming out on the 15th of September. You can pre-order on Amazon, which is the 4th Doctor set, which is it's from Demon Records. And again, everything's limited edition these days, isn't it? This is a limited edition, and it's going to run to 1,600 pieces, and it's essentially just a celebration of Tom Baker and some stories across the 50 years, and etc., as they normally label these things. So LP number 1 is Genesis of the Daleks. LP number 2 is Doctor Who and the Pescatons. LP 3 is Exploration Earth, the Time Machine, plus a selection of BBC radio interviews with Tom Baker made between the 70s and 80s. And LP 4 is Doctor Who, State of Decay. And the reason why I like this box set, which I think it looks really cool, is, guys, normally over the last couple of years when they've done these vinyl sets, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing at all, but they've normally got an artist to do the cover art, and, the vinyl records themselves are like these crazy colours sometimes, and, it all looks fantastic. It's really good. This one's like the opposite end of the spectrum. It's like a very minimalist, very of its time, feels very 70s. It's almost like it was plucked out of one of the old Doctor Who annuals in terms of design and stuff. So that's going to drop. You can pre-order that from Amazon. That's another one to go in the show notes. But have any of you guys got any of the vinyl sets? Even if you don't own a turntable, have you got any of the sets? Jordan's like,
yeah, I've got a few over the years. I've got quite a few of the when they did the soundtrack ones for them, like the missing stories. And I think I'm trying to look. I think I've also got a couple of the Big Finish, the limited edition ones, and like a couple of the soundtrack ones.
nice.
But they are nice. They are nice sets. The price tag is a bit steep, but they are nice sets.
They are indeed, yes. And you mentioned the price tag. That is something to bear in mind. This one is £76.99, so it will set you back just shy of £100. Well, not nearly 100, but it's up there. But it does look gorgeous, though, I will say. And I think it's an illustration of Tom on the front, but it's based off of a photograph, so it's pretty true to life. And it looks like it's in like an old kind of comic book dot matrix print style thing. Anyway, it looks really nice. So that's another piece. So we've had a merch centric episode for the round table this month. We were going to go through some of the things that we were sort of researched earlier on. So actually, let's rattle through them really quick. We'll do 1 minute each just to go through that. So let's go to Maria first. The first thing was, if you could travel with any doctor, which doctor would that be?
Okay, so if you give me a choice of having only one, I probably couldn't do that. So I'm going to rattle off 2. Yeah, I know. Gary's rolling his eyes at this point. Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, I can always see both sides of the story, and I don't sit on the fence. So I would say, first of all, I'd say John Pertwee, because I feel he would. The 3rd Doctor, because I think he would be quite protective of me as a companion. And I quite like that idea of being looked after. But if I had a second choice, it would be the 5th Doctor. Who else could it be but the 5th Doctor? I do love the team that he's got around him. So he's got Nyssa, Tegan, Adric, And I would just love that. I think I would enjoy the energy of being around them. I know they argue amongst themselves, but I would still want to be part of that team. I think it would be a lot of fun being with the Fifth Doctor. So it would be those two.
Okie dokie. And where would you go, or when, or?
Oh gosh, now this is really hard because I kind of, there's so many places that I would go. So I made a list. I had so my list would be, I would go back to November 1963. I would be in the grassy knoll in Dallas, just to kind of see what actually happened, because I'm really curious about that. I would go
someone
back.
Got shot.
Yeah, somebody not that important. I don't mean that actually, because it was one of those really shocking events at the time. I would probably go back and see Elvis in concert. And I would, if I had to go to the future, I would probably go to about 100 years in the future just to see what it's like.
Gotcha.
So those would be my choices.
And any of those people you'd like to meet? You said about seeing Elvis, or would you like to have met JFK before he,
I would like to know if he's as charismatic as they said he was.
JFK?
Yeah, I think so.
Or Elvis?
Well, Elvis was a childhood hero of mine. I listened to a lot of his music, so I would have loved to have kind of been around when Elvis was in his rock and roll era. I would have loved to have met Marilyn Monroe. And I think he was a fictional figure, but I would also like to meet Robin Hood, but I don't think he actually exists. I don't think he was real. But if he was, I would have liked to have met him, just to kind of, because he was kind of looking after the poor, thieving from the rich. So yeah, those are my choices.
I see. Okay, very quickly, if you're a fan of Doctor Who, what a ridiculous thing to say. If you're a fan of Robin Hood, and you subscribe to something called BritBox, they've literally just whacked all 3 seasons of Robin of Sherwood on there, and it's one of the best TV programs from the 80s.
Is that the 1980s one? I've already got it on DVD. I mean, I absolutely love that series. It's one of the best series that they've ever done about Robin Hood. But yeah, I agree completely.
It's amazing. Yeah, anyone that's not seen it and you have BritBox, stick it on. It's got that really old English, just fantastic storytelling around that Robin Hood character, and Michael Praed as Robin of Loch. It's so good. Anyway. Thank you, Maria. Some classic choices there.
And it's also got Sean Connery's son in there, just to roll back to what we were talking about earlier. Jason Connery's in there as Robin as well.
He is, yeah, because I think Michael Praed left, didn't he? And then they replaced him with Robin of he played Robert of Huntingdon. That's it, yes. I read you. Don't talk to me about Robin Hood, Maria. Got that one down, I think. I do like Robin Hood, though, especially that Robin of Sherwood. Very cool.
Yeah, it's a fantastic series, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Jordan, what Doctor would you have loved to have travelled with?
So I'm going to be like Maria. I've got 2. So I would love to travel with the 5th Doctor, because he is my favourite Doctor. And Tegan and Nyssa are my favourite companions. But I'd also quite like to travel with the 12th Doctor, because he can be quite sarky and quite rude. I can be quite sarky and quite rude. And I think we'd get on quite well, because I wouldn't let him give it, but I wouldn't take it at the same time. So I think we'd get on quite well.
Couple of gins down, and you two are just wrecking everybody. Yeah. Okay, and where or when would you like to travel?
I'm a bit of a history buff, so I'd like to go back in history. In particular, I would love to go back to the Tudors. I'm fascinated by the Tudors. But I'm also a bit terrified because everybody had a tendency to get their heads chopped off. So, you know, I might be like, we'll go for the day, you know, like we're going to like Longley or we're going to, you know, somewhere. We'll go for the day and it'll be fine. And I've done it. But, you know, I would like to see the future, but I think I'd rather go back and visit somewhere in the past.
Okay. And anyone in particular you'd like to meet face to face?
So I'm thinking of 3, so I'm going to rattle them off in the opposite order. So I'd love to meet Stan Lee, first of all, back when he was writing Marvel comics. And I'd love to say to him, you know, how much Marvel and things mean to me, how much those stories mean to other people. Because I watched a documentary recently, and I don't think he ever sort of registered just how much those stories meant to people that he created. I'd love to meet Bram Stoker. Dracula is my favourite book that's ever been written. So I'd love to meet him and maybe get him to sign my my copy of it.
In blood.
But the one person I would love to meet is Mary Queen of Scots. I would love to meet her. She's fascinating in history. The idea that her and Elizabeth I were sort of born, but they were always pitted against each other, I think is quite an interesting. Elizabeth I couldn't quite bring herself to execute Mary Queen of Scots until she had no choice but to, because she was a woman in a man's world and they were all pressuring her into doing it. So I would love to meet her, but I think I'd like to meet her when she was married to, I think it was Francis, but don't ask me which number it was. And she was like the Queen of France. So I'd quite like to meet her. The only problem is I'd have to watch out for Catherine de Medici because she was a bit dodgy. So
she was a bit of a
as
one.
the first Doctor found out when he met her, so she was a bit dodgy. But yeah, I'd love to meet Mary Queen of Scots.
Wowzers. Okay. Some awesome choices there, dude. Matthew, what Doctor would you like to travel with? Bearing in mind, it doesn't have to be one that we've seen yet. It could be. Could be a future Doctor. Who knows? But up to you, dude. Who would you want to travel with?
Well, it could be, but it's not. No, I'm sticking with my favourite, and I'd love to travel with Paul McGann, the Eighth Doctor. But specifically, pre-Dark Eyes Eighth Doctor. So I'm talking the Lucy Miller, the Charlie Pollard era of the Eighth Doctor, because he's so full of life. He's almost bursting with adventure. He wants to, just show his companions everything, and why are you not seeing the beauty in this that I do? And it's just, he loves life and he wants to see it all. Obviously the Eighth Doctor lives a terribly long life, and as a Time War going on behind him, and that sort of thing, and all this death and countless adventures that shape him and turn him away slightly from being that. But I'd love to early Eighth Doctor to travel with him. And that TARDIS. That's a major reason as well, because that's sick.
Yes. Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when and where?
So 2 places for the past, just like everyone else, because I'm greedy. I would go to the 50s because I love that era. The beginning of, or the flowering of rock and roll. I'm big into rock and roll music. Elvis, Chuck Berry, Johnny Cash, Jerry Lewis, all of those. And I'd love to go to Memphis, the early days, visit Sun Records, that sort of thing, where they all sort of got their break. I'd love to be there and see the whole thing. Stay a while, because I'd also love to see the Beatles. When they were the Quarrymen, go to one of their like small little town fair concerts before they got huge. Secondly, I'd love to see the moon landing. I'd love to see the moon landing in person. And, if you got a TARDIS, you could be there. You don't have to watch it on telly. You could be there. You could put the invisibility thing on that River has to turn off. And you could be there. You could watch it, as they would have thought in 3D. But yeah, no, that's what I'd love to do in the past. And then for the future, I'd love to go like 1,000 years in the future. I wouldn't want to ever look into my life, what happened to me, because I feel like once you know, and there's nothing you can do about it. But I'd love to see general humanity, where we're at. You know, how much the Simpsons are going to get right. You know, it's pretty much most of it.
Yeah, okay. And anyone you'd like to meet face to face?
I'm going to steal Maria's. I desperately want to meet Elvis. You know, I love Elvis. I think he from his early days to his just troubled later days, but his music throughout is just fantastic. I'd love to just sit in a room and interrogate him until he was sick of me, and just find out, you know, what goes on inside there in that brain of his. Yeah, just I didn't. I'll be honest. I didn't really think about that part, because I got really into thinking about going back to the 50s. But yeah, just some you know, idols from that sort of era. I'd love to meet the Beatles as they were forming, sort of maybe, yeah, sort of early days before they've kind of got into their fame. And you know, just that sort of thing. I just love music, so that's always going to be the highlight of where I go.
Very cool. Wow, you guys have got some cracking answers so far. I'm going to rattle through mine really quickly. Thank you, guys.
You have to try and beat us now, Gary.
I rolled my eyes at you lot, but I've also got a couple of options for each. I'd love to travel with, first of all, Eccleston's Doctor, the Ninth Doctor, just because I feel like what we've seen of him so far, we've only scratched the surface. So I think there's tons and tons of very cool things and adventures that we haven't seen of his that would be cool to go, and it's almost like an exclusive club, like all the other Doctors, well, most of them anyway. There's been multiple series or seasons of those adventures and stuff, but to travel with the Ninth Doctor and only see some of the stuff and all that, you know, I hope I'm making sense. And then the other one would be Pat Troughton, because I feel like it would be great just to observe, like with the Ninth Doctor, it would be good just to have a great laugh with him, and just, you know, get into trouble and do all those things. I think with Troughton's Doctor, though, I'd love to just observe. I'd love to just, you know, see him in motion, see him in his flow, and he had some cracking stories as well, you know. So it would have been cool to travel with those Doctors. In terms of when and where, I've got two. Again, the first one is I'd love to travel back in time to a point where there's just nothing on the earth, just so I could have a bit of peace and quiet just for an hour. So there are no humans yet. The dinosaurs are not here yet. There's no pollution. There's no light pollution. It's just a picnic and just silence. Other than a bit of, you know, early wildlife or whatever that's knocking about, it's just quiet, and the world just smells fresh, and it's not been tarnished yet by anything. So weirdly, that's got an appeal to me. And I'd also love to travel into the future. I'd love to travel, and I can't figure out whether this is some weird breaking of the fourth or even the fifth wall, I'm not sure, but to go into the future to see what future Doctor Who looks like. So I don't mean just like round the corner in the future to see Shooty's Doctor and how that turned out. I mean like 100 years in the future to see if they're still making Doctor Who and what that looks like and all that stuff. So that's kind of weird to travel with the Doctor to see Doctor Who being, you know, it's a bit of a mind melter. But anyway, and then the person I'd love to meet, again, I've got two. Very similar to you, Jordan. So for me, comic books are a huge part of my life. So I'd love to have met Stan Lee, but I'd also love to go and met Bob Kane and Bill Finger and those guys over at DC, the other end of the scale. And because there's a bit of animosity still within the comic book community and stuff. Whenever there's whenever there's conversations around, they didn't include Bill Finger early on when they were crediting Batman. It always says Batman created by Bob Kane. It's only recently in the last few years they started to include him, and the same with Stan Lee, and they've only recently started to say actually it's Steve Ditko and Kirby and all those people. So I'd love to go and see how that all went down, and see those guys, the masters at work and so on. And then the other person I'd love to meet would be, I think it's going to be, you guys mentioned Elvis and the Beatles and so on. I think I'm going to go with, if we stick with the musical theme, I don't know. I think I'm going to go with Sinatra. I think I'm going to go with Frank Sinatra just because it's not like, although there's lots of stories written about him and documentaries made, and he's been on camera and on recording someone for years. I think there's a really cool part of his life where, just as he was breaking into the mainstream, when he was doing so many different things, where he was acting and doing concerts and recording stuff, I think to have a little snapshot of his life at that point, just before he made the big time, as he was getting into that. So yeah, sticking with the musical thing, I would go with old Blue Eyes, I think, old Sinatra. So, but overall, I think we've all had some cracking choices there, yeah, before the dinosaurs, certainly, Maria. Definitely before. I don't want to be sat there, picnic table, couple of beers, Walker's crisps, and then a bloody velociraptor just comes screaming up behind me. So yeah, definitely before the dinosaurs.
You'd be on your own though, Gary. You have to take somebody with you if you're going to go that far back.
Maria, that's fine with me. I just want an hour. Anybody that's got a family or anyone that's married or anyone will relate to this. Sometimes you just need an hour just to go and have some alone time or whatever. So yeah, that's all I want. I don't want to travel by myself for that long. Just an hour, just to enjoy the view and the peace and quiet.
Well, we're all going to enjoy, the rest of our evenings. Gary's going to spend it in the doghouse because, as we all know, Mrs. Big Blue Box is going to be scolding himself in for that.
Well, actually, you say that, but I can guarantee she'd be like, actually, I want you to go for an hour because you annoy me a lot. So I would like some peace and quiet as well. So if you want to go off for an hour, away you go. So yeah, but I do have to be careful though. Yeah, that is, yeah. No, she's cool. She's cool. Okie dokie. Have we got anything else we want to throw into the round table this month? Sounds very formal, but any AOBs? Any other business? No. Blank faces. It's all good.
I just wanted to say how the actual promotional stuff for Doctor Who recently has been so good. So good. The pink TARDIS, I suppose that was for Barbie, but getting that out in London, not telling anybody, and people just seeing it everywhere, and then it's online, it's everywhere, and it's this big thing. But not only is it really good for Barbie and Shooty, but it's great for Doctor Who. It's really clever marketing again, and I don't want to put a dampener about Chibnall Zero ever, but the marketing wasn't great. But it's just lovely to see it back, and those posters that they've just beautiful.
Oh, lovely. Oh, you sound like I don't know if you remember. You might remember this, Matt. You guys might remember. Maria, certainly. There was a comedy show used to be on called The Fast Show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
and the two guys, Paul Whitehouse and the other guy that's in Harry Potter, who plays the Weasley's dad. They did a sketch where they were in a suit shop and people used to come in and they'd be like, oh, that looks bloody lovely on you, sir. Oh, suits you. Oh, do you want a new suit?
I remember that. Yeah.
Mark Williams,
that's the guy. Yeah, him and Paul Whitehouse in The Fast Show. Absolutely brilliant. Yes, the pink TARDIS. You guys, didn't we have a pink TARDIS in one of the McCoy stories? Was it
the Happiness Patrol?
Yes, that's the one. Yes.
Oh, I thought it was Paradise Towers, but is that, or am I thinking the wrong one? Maybe I'm thinking the wrong one.
It's Happiness, but yeah, Happiness Patrol.
They are quite similar, though. They are pretty.
Yeah, so it's not the first time we've had the old pink Your pink TARDIS out.
But it looks good in pink. I thought it did look quite good in pink.
Same.
Obviously, I like the blue, but it looked good in pink as a sort of one-offy thing.
Agreed. Yeah, it did look good. Yeah, so like you said, Matt, promotion for the Barbie movie, obviously, but also a nice little bit of promotion for old Doctor Who as well. So all good.
Definitely, yeah.
Okie dokie. I think on that note then, let's stick a pin in it there. That has been the round table for July. Thank you so much for listening to this month's episode of the Big Blue Box, and that is the round table for July, all wrapped up and done in a nice little bow. We'll stick some links in the show notes of the stuff that we have talked about in this episode, which is the season 20 5th Doctor box set, which is going to land on Blu-ray, we think, at some point in December and October. And Maria didn't say any of this, but the tickets for the BFI and the 5 Doctors, they will go on sale at some point soon as well, so you'll be able to pick that up, those tickets up. We also had the 14th Doctor Sonic Screwdriver, which we spoke through, and also the Tom Baker record collection, the vinyl set, which is also going to land later on this year. I'll stick links to everything so you can have a nosy around and pre-order. Concerning the Sonic Screwdriver, that's going to come back in stock at some point, so we'll keep you up to date with what's happening there as well. In the meantime, make sure you are following or subscribing to the podcast in your preferred podcast app of choice. That way you won't miss an episode when it lands at this point in time every month until we get back to our weekly schedule. You can also listen to us over on the website, which is bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk, and you can listen to the stories that these guys, the reviews of stories and editorials that these guys put out on there as well. We're on the socials. Twitter or X and Facebook and Instagram. There are links on the website. Give us a like and a follow. And we have a very cool Discord server as well. There's a link on the website. Hop in there and chat Doctor Who with lots of other Who fans. Until next time, remember guys,